Hi guys, and welcome to Berlin, a city that has very intense history, but it feels very much alive and creative today. There's great food, art, and nightlife everywhere you go. In this vlog, we're gonna explore Berlin and see how East and West Berlin shaped the city.
We are starting today's vlog right here in front of the Brandenburg Gate. This is the most important landmark and the most recognizable one in Berlin. It stood here for about 250 years and it's literally seen everything from Prussian kings to Napoleon, Nazi rallies, and then it was a part of the Berlin Wall during the Cold War. It used to be in no man's land back in those times, but right now it's more like a symbol of, I don't know.
Resilience?
Yeah, resilience and unity. So this square we are in right now, this was a place where they used to have some of those really huge Nazi rallies about 80 years ago. And also, you see that big chariot statue right above the gate. Apparently when Napoleon walked through these gates, he had it taken down and took it to Paris.
Stole it.
Loads of history here. We're going to continue with just a little bit more history before we dive into the cooler part of Berlin. So yeah, let's get going. Stay loud, I'll bite the bullet and fake out, so no one knows when I came down. There's nothing left for me. There's a few ways you can visit Berlin. You can either really just focus on the historic stuff, because there are so many options of things that you can do here. So many museums, so many buildings that are worth seeing. Or you can just do the fun part, because there's a lot of really amazing nightlife.
Or you can mix and match.
But the one unique thing about Berlin, out of all the big cities that we've visited so far, is that a lot of its really important history is very recent. For a bit of context, after the Second World War, when Nazi Germany was defeated, Berlin was divided, well, Germany was divided in two, East and West, and the western part was controlled by the Allies, US, Britain, France, and it was democratic and capitalist and prosperous.
Yeah, it was more developed.
Yeah, and then you had the East, which was controlled by Soviet Russia, and it was communist. To Checkpoint Charlie. This is one of the symbols of the Cold War. It is essentially a checkpoint where you would cross from West Berlin to East Berlin and vice versa. There was one checkpoint over here for the US and Allied armies, and one more over there for the Eastern Germany secret police, Soviet controlled really. And really what this was a place where diplomats, businessmen would cross from one side to the other if they were here for official business. Realistically, no one was really allowed. None of the normal population was allowed to go from one side to the other. That was the initial reason why they even built up the wall, because too many people were leaving East Germany because it was doing so poorly compared to West Germany. And to stop people from physically leaving, they built this wall, which lasted for about 30 years. Yeah. Before the USSR fell.
And separating families, relationships. So yeah. Even if you were to work in the other side of the wall, you had a workplace on the other side.
That's it. Yeah, that's game over. Yeah, we started today off with a bit of the newer history with the Cold War. We're gonna move on now to a cool neighborhood. It's time to get some food, get some coffee. If you do want to see more about what life was like back then, you should watch Bridge of Spies. It's a cool movie, and it depicts very much this era. But I do like the fact that now you've got Checkpoint Charlie, and literally on one side of the road you have a McDonald's, and on the other one you have a KFC.
Find a more affordable concept store, but this one was so beautiful, such great pieces and amazingly curated. I saw a bag. It was amazing. It was with Dachshund. And I don't know, it was just like super playful and nice, but it was over €1,000, so it's kind of much.
Berlin does have this concept of a concept store. So there's quite a few of these kind of spots in Berlin.
I would have worn anything in there.
Really nice stuff, quite highly priced though. It was quite high-end. They also had a corner with coffee and matcha and all kinds of drinks and stuff.
And shampoo, lotion, room scents.
The summer months are coming, I don't know how to take it. The memory of our lover, picture frames and bracelets, and they say, keep your head up, boy. 'Cause May is like Miranda, I could not understand her. Her voice is like a riddle that leads me to the water, and I drown.
Lunch was so good. The place looks amazing. It looks like Bali, right? Like the cafés you kind of see in Bali, very colorful, and everything was awesome. Mostly the pancake. And my matcha drink with strawberry was amazing too.
So we just got out of Blumental. This is one of the many incredible cafes here in Kreuzberg. As Laura said, beautiful decoration, and this goes for most of these cafes in this area. They're done up with good taste.
Yeah, everything is quite different. We didn't know what to pick because there were so many great options of cafes.
Also on the menu, everything was amazing, but it had a bit of a twist. So I had a combination of espresso with orange juice.
Yeah.
You had like a matcha drink with strawberry puree.
And coconut milk.
And then we had Turkish eggs with a lot of chili oil and some yogurt. Very good, a bit heavy, but very good, and with sourdough bread.
And tahini, I think.
Oh yeah, tahini as well, yeah. And we had a portion of the pistachio pancakes with raspberry jam with pistachio butter.
Yeah, they were so fluffy and good.
Everything was fantastic, and the prices were good. We paid about €35 for everything. Well, not super cheap, but given the area and the fact that it's so,
aesthetic,
yeah.
So we are now in Kreuzberg. This area used to sit right at the edge of the Berlin Wall, which made it more cut off, more cheap, so naturally more immigrants moved in, students and artists. However, nowadays it's a very cool area. It's known for street art, music, restaurants and nightlife.
Yeah, so given the fact that there were so many creatives and artists and immigrants living in this area back in the 60s and so on, there was a big Turkish community here too. It was literally the epitome of everything that East Germany did not stand for, and they were literally just on the other side of the wall. So it was a very interesting contrast back then. But as Laura said, there's a lot of art spaces, art galleries, very cool and interesting museums. We are actually going to one right now. Not a museum per se, it's a gallery, but it's a very unique one. So we are going to König Gallery. It's a brutalist church from the early 60s. I didn't even know they made brutalist churches.
No, me either.
And now it's turned into this really cool space. We were just talking how Berlin reminds us so much of Eastern Europe in parts. It's a bit of a combination, I feel like, between what Eastern Europe looks like and the kind of Germanic, Austro-Hungarian architecture in parts. Very interesting.
Feels like home.
It does feel a bit like home.
July's full of boredom. It makes me think of Morgan. She dated all my best friends, my high school crush. I never told.
Sadly, the gallery is closed. There is literally no reason displayed as to why it's closed. Equally, we're not in the middle of summer. This is the 1st of September.
Oh yeah.
So
I thought it was still August.
it should be open.
It's a very interesting church.
I did see what the interior looks like online, and it is perfect for contemporary art displays, but
Yeah.
sadly, the only art right here is Laura, so
You're welcome.
we do have a backup for a different, really interesting art gallery space. It's not far away. Walking distance is over 20 minutes, but I think we might take the bus again. we decided to do something that we don't normally do when we travel, which is we got a Berlin welcome card that contains travel and discounts for so many other partners they have, from restaurants, cafes, to even clothing shops and so on. We've been taking a bus. It's easy now. We just have those cards in our backpack. We don't need to validate anything. You validate once when you start and that's it. So if you are in Berlin, give this a go. You have to go just to any tourist information board.
Every time I think I'm getting over, it cycles back around. And every time I think I'm getting over, it cycles back around. I'm not done looking for love. I'm not done looking for love. I'm not done looking for your love. I'm not done looking for love. I'm not done looking for love.
Wir haben zwei Optionen zum Überleben. 1. Keine Gewissheit haben, nicht wissen. 2. Gewählte Mutation.
Produced by Steirischer Herbst 2020. An excellent year.
This was something else. In spirit of full disclosure, my cousin lives in Berlin, and I asked him to recommend to us a few, I don't know, artsy places to go hang out, galleries, this kind of stuff, and this was one of his recommendations.
Yeah, but not the artist, right?
No, like the building,
Yeah.
right? Because they have different exhibitions here.
Yeah.
This one, for example, ends in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, so we went to someone basically a random artist. We didn't
Yeah, we
necessarily select
No,
one.
it was the only one you could choose right
Oh,
now.
okay. Okay. I have to say,
Very,
it wasn't boring at all.
no,
It was kind of like a fever dream.
it was a bit like that. wasn't
Very David Lynch.
it? Meets,
Murder.
I'll tell you what was the name? I forgot. Stanley Kubrick, that's the one. It was like A Clockwork Orange, if anyone's seen that movie.
I mean, it was really interesting.
They were calling the exhibition Too Gay for the Punkers and Too Punk for the Gays.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I guess it was a bit like that.
Yeah, very interesting. Very Berlin.
Very graphic. The
Yeah,
grand finale
the grand
was
finale,
quite
yes.
was quite funny.
Yes. It was very unexpected because it was after a wall, basically, so you directly could see the grand finale. It was very amusing.
Laura saw it first and she said, "You're not ready for this."
No, you could never guess that that's there.
Exactly, I could have never
Yeah.
guessed. Well, yeah, the interior, very beautiful. That great hall, that's free to visit. You only have to pay if you want to see a separate exhibition. And we thought, well, we're already here, we might as well. We did set up a €10 per person limit, and it was
Yeah.
9. So we said,
Yeah.
okay, now we got to do it. If you're in the area, definitely come in at least to check the building out, because it's definitely unique. Very beautiful. Time for coffee. This is my classic German beer. It's an oolong iced tea. We are in 2D, always together, Asian cafe in Berlin Mitte in the center. This is an Asian cafe, as the name says. And the decor and the tables, the chairs, everything is painted black and white, vertical and horizontal lines. It looks like you're in a 2D comic. They have a whole bunch of different types of matchas and desserts, Korean and Japanese mainly inspired. And we got a ridiculous item. I think it's called a croffle, croissant waffle type of thing, with ube on top. Okay, don't know what to expect. It's good, it's kind of like a whipped cream, but the star is the actual croffle, which is delicious. Very unique texture. It's a bit like a croissant, a bit like a, I don't know, like a pie. I don't know, it's interesting. I like it. Even if these weren't good, I think the reason you come here is for the looks. It's very like Instagrammable and eye-catching. Beautiful. We don't have a lot of time. We kind of have to go in about 15 minutes to catch our boat. We have an electric yacht cruise on the river. So semi-private, not private, semi-private. So this next activity we actually booked on Get Your Guide. I don't know how popular it gets and how long before you should book, but we did book it like 2 weeks ago, and there were quite a few slots available then. And it's a cruise on the river Spree, which is the main river here in Berlin. Now, when you do this, there's several options. Most of them involve a larger ship with more people. We chose an option that was just a bit more expensive. So we paid, I think it's 30 something pounds per person, as opposed to probably like 20 what the other one is. And this one gives you a different boat, a smaller one, a fully electric boat, and you get a bit more privacy, you have better seats and so on. The departure is literally right next to the Berliner Dom, the main cathedral of Berlin. We might actually come here tomorrow. Ready to chill on the boat for a bit?
Oui.
After chilling in the cafe? We actually walked today more than I thought we would.
Yeah. There's long distances between each touristic point.
Yeah, Paris gave me the same vibe, where on the map it looked like it's not that far away.
Yeah.
But then it's actually like half an hour walk, and then half an hour walk. And now we're almost already at 20,000 steps for today.
I'm already tired.
And yeah, we still have a couple more things to do. So let's go ahead with the cruise. And then we're gonna go visit the old East Berlin side with the really Soviet looking buildings. Yes. This is very relaxing.
Really nice so far, yeah. And the boat is fully electric, so you can't feel or hear anything. It's so calm, so smooth.
The whole lap takes about 1 hour, and you go down the river a little bit, and then you go up the river all the way until the other end of Berlin. And part of it will be like this, with narrated guides. It's in German, it's also in English, so very easy to understand.
We got 2 beers, really good prices for beer, €5 I think.
€5 for a beer.
Can't complain, awesome, highly recommend.
So it is more expensive than the other cruises,
Yeah, but look at it,
realistically,
this is a lounge here.
we have an incredible setting up here. On the
Barely any people on the boat. There's also a few seats in the front of the boat, which are premium again.
But this is more like a
More lounges.
like a lounge deck.
Yes.
So even though it is a bit more expensive, it's super premium.
It's worth it, I feel like. The additional, the extra
Yeah.
payment.
We are in Alexanderplatz, or Alex as Berliners call it. This is the main square, ground zero of East Berlin, the place where just days before the Berlin Wall fell, 500,000 people gathered to demand reforms and big changes in their system, which then obviously came. So in this spot right here, the East Berliners also built the TV tower, which was a symbol of their progress at the time in the late 60s. Right now we'll be walking that way about 5 minutes. We're going towards Karl-Marx-Allee, which, well, as the name says, is a huge boulevard with Soviet-style buildings left and right, blocks of apartments, massive slabs of concrete. We want to see, you know, what East Berlin really looked like. And then we're going to dive deeper into the really cool part of East Berlin, where they have the new cultural hubs with places to drink, hang out, where young people gather nowadays. Let's go. As we are walking down Karl-Marx-Allee, previously called Stalin's Allee, this boulevard was the one spot where most of the military parades of East Germany were held. Tanks, you know, missile carriers, troops, everyone was marching down this street. And they've built it with these huge blocks of apartments, Soviet style, on both sides, which were called palaces for workers.
There aren't palaces, but...
Yeah, we've been walking down these boulevards now for the better part of half an hour.
For the better part of today.
And it does feel like you are in a Soviet country. This side of the East Berlin.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So after a really long walk, we sat down finally in the Holzmarkt. The beer, wine. What a different spot here. Like right off the main street, you get into this courtyard, sort of. It's kind of like an old industrial hub. They've transformed it into like food stalls, drink spots. There's a few trailers that serve food as well. It's obviously a great place because most people come here with big groups of friends. Sadly, there's not much options for food. They only have like fries and pizza.
Maybe it's because it's a Monday, I don't know, but
Yeah,
some
maybe,
of the
maybe.
stalls are shut, so yeah. We'll have to look for something else for food. German wine and German beer. The wine is good.
I love the fact that there's sort of like a jungle gym for kids, and it says there, this is only for kids, adults should not climb.
Surely there was a incident before.
Man, there's so many wasps.
There's so many wasps. There were wasps in France and
Amsterdam, but
Amsterdam.
nowhere as many as here.
no, the wasps here are much more violent, I feel like.
They're very violent.
They are out to sting you.
They are out to get you,
They won't back down.
much like us.
I'm a blanket, born in the slow, and we nothing to show. These days we missed both of our lives now, like the neighbors. We'll get old and we've broken the mold. We've been transfixed, never surviving now. Be my aeroplane. Be my lost control. Be my double meaning. Be my empty.
We just finished with the open air museum, the East Side Gallery. You can see behind us the Berlin Wall. This is the longest stretch of wall that is still standing, and it's painted on both sides, most of it on both sides. Artists from all around the world have been invited to paint here since their very early 90s, and it looks very heavy. It looks like it's got a lot of history behind it.
It does.
No, but it's because it does. We had a long day, we did a lot of walking. We deserve a big ass schnitzel now. So we are just getting to our final stop of the day, which is this place that is famous for their really good schnitzels. Who are we to say no to a schnitzel? And then we're gonna go get some rest because tomorrow we have another really long day with a lot more of Berlin to discover. The fact that there isn't a schnitzel fast food place in London baffles me.
I think that's a business idea for us for the future.
Honestly, it's a great idea.
The food was delicious.
Food was delicious, it was super quick, it was
Super affordable.
and most importantly, it was a schnitzel.
Yes, we all
Schnitzels
love a
are great.
schnitzel. Yeah.
You can make your own choices in terms of what meat you want, what kind of salad, what kind of sauces. It's fabulous.
Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, we really appreciate it. Make sure to come back for our next video from Berlin, where we'll explore more of the city and its historic neighborhood.